In the time since its airing, and even quite a while before, there hasn't been many anime that try things like SSSS Gridman does. It's a show with big ideas and big execution. One where empathy is the main driving force and is stitched together via clever subversions, understated sound design, animation, and direction. The young staff, led by folks who had long proven their worth at Studio Trigger, were given their biggest leadership roles yet and nailed just about everything. While Gridman has not been the hit that Kill la Kill, Darling in the Franxx, Little Witch Academia, or even Kisniver proved to be, the little offbeat tokusatsu earned much critical praise, my own included. So of course the question for Dynazenon became, okay, you've told the story of people facing their trauma and striving towards tomorrow as a result of radical empathy. What's next? And the answer is, well, it's obvious. You show what comes next, not necessarily a continuation of Akane, Rika, or Yuta's stories, but what happens to people after they've decided to deal with their trauma. Is there really such a clean breakaway point, or do we carry that weight? Where Gridman is a story of forgiveness and answers, Dynazenon plows full force into these questions with the power of friendship and comes out a little less tidy, but nevertheless an absolute gem just as Gridman did 3 years ago. When watching Dynazenon, understandably there are quite a few production similarities between it and its predecessor. Not just in the obvious ways a series shares such, but in the ways creators with distinctive styles leave their fingerprints all over their work. The first episode lays this out rather plainly. Instead of music telling the viewer exactly how to feel, diegetic sound design does so, along with subtle animation and storyboarding. There are highly detailed drawings, such as a pencil sharpener barely sitting on a ledge as if that was the last open spot for an essential item in a crowded classroom. Piles of dirty shoes beaten down by intense usage and puberty. The meaningless, naturalistic chatter of high school kids walking to clubs and heading home with friends. Bouncing through the school halls is the sound of a choir. All of this noise exists in these environments. Parents arguing downstairs are muffled and distant. Two buds taking a bath together have their voices gently reverberate. The way shoes scrape along worn-out concrete. How rain taps against an umbrella. Dynazenon is a show you watch with the best pair of headphones you have, or a really nice sound system. It's approaching 3 months since my last video, and in that time the planning for what was supposed to come next has amounted to rewatching Dynazenon in the usual fashion required for the early stages of a new project. I ended that rewatch with about 10,000 words of notes ranging from innocuous thoughts, big salient points, and some real stuff I'd cut. Over the course of 2 weeks, maybe longer, I attempted to reshape those disjointed observations into a video. It's a formula I've done before, it's what I did for Gridman, and yet those previous 2 paragraphs are all I have that are in any way, shape, or form close to being worthy of a first draft. On July 18th, Tatsuki Fujimoto released a 147-page manga about the lives of 2 manga artists from grade school to early adulthood. It is a deeply personal affair. It makes me feel like I understand who Fujimoto is more than what a manga could ever really accurately impart. There are certainly degrees of speculation and projection on my end. Look Back is a story that feels like it could only have been written by someone who has struggled with artistically expressing themselves over the course of their life, and is now in a moment that deeply troubles them. The name Tatsuki Fujimoto is inextricably tied to the hit Shonen Jump manga Chainsaw Man, a work he hasn't finished, but nevertheless is fastly becoming one of the biggest manga at the biggest manga publication in the world, and soon will receive an anime adaptation. I can't really understand the pressure of such. I do, however, understand how hard it is to try to constantly go back to your well of creativity, and it turns out not only does it go dry from time to time, but occasionally the rope breaks and you hear the bucket splash in the dark hundreds of feet below. Or you draw it up with great anticipation, you can feel it, you've got something special, and now it's time to put it all into form. But there's a hole in the bucket, and there goes all your motivation. Now you just kind of feel silly, because not only did you hype yourself up, but you've gotta go silently delete that vague tweet or pretend you never had a conversation with a friend. Episode 9 of Gridman and 10 of Dynazenon are rather similar. Both take place within individual dreamlike fantasies. The cast gets to see what life might be like if not for the trauma they struggle with. Both are all about breaking down barriers of denial and facing reality. In Gridman, this means the main trio of heroes accepting their relationship with Akane as toxic as it may be, eventually leading Akane to accept her own reality and her faults in hopes of striving for a better tomorrow. In Dynazenon, the heroes deal with their regrets. Koyomi has yet to get over his rebellious and dangerous relationship with Inamoto when they were middle schoolers. Chise struggles with conformity and wonders if returning to school despite her social anxieties would ultimately be for the best. Yume dreams of the day her sister died, hoping to say the right thing that will change her tragic fate. Dynazenon revisits and expands. It is directly in conversation with Gridman. Following up and expanding on a creative work is no small achievement. Not only do you have to handle the general adversity of creativity, but now you have to work within the confines of an established set of rules. After revisiting Mass Effect in early 2020, I came away with big plans. I was going to do multiple videos on the franchise, all culminating in a lengthy explanation as to why I adore the polarizing Mass Effect 3. I have released 4 videos on the franchise since that time, but by the point I was ready to write the script on Mass Effect 3, I felt burnt out. I knew what I wanted to say. My notes were lengthy and for that stage, surprisingly well organized and well spoken. I just didn't have it in me, and so I decided to put it on hold. I needed to refocus, recharge, and flex different creative muscles. When reading Look Back and having the knowledge that Fujimoto has been on hiatus from publishing manga since part 1 of Chainsaw Man finished back in early December of 2020, I get the feeling he too needed a recharge. We know very little about when part 2 will arrive. The toll of writing a weekly series for 2 years likely doesn't give room for ideas like Look Back, nor would it allow much time to breathe in and look at life, or the world, and really grapple with it all. Again, speculation and projection here. Also, I'm about to talk about the Kyoto animation, arson attack, and self-harm, so heads up. I think it's fair to say that the events of July 18th, 2019 at Kyoto Animation Studio 1 weigh heavily on the anime and manga industry. The parallels to reality and self-referential nature of Look Back are not subtle. Towards the end, as lifelong collaborators and friends, Kyomoto and Fujino go their separate ways. Kyomoto enters art school and is studying Western painting as Fujimoto had done in real life. Fujino, meanwhile, has moved past her feelings of inadequacy around her rough art style and has become a successful author of Shark Punch. Tragically, a man wanders into the art school Kyomoto is attending, rambling about his work being plagiarized. He kills 12 people, including Kyomoto. Side note, yes, I am aware there are some changes to this portion of the manga, but both my readings were prior to this, so that's what I'm reacting to here. Though I cannot guarantee every aspect of the work-life quality at Kyoto Animation over the years, it is no secret that the studio has been talked about as one of the good ones, especially in regards to young female animators looking to break into the industry and having the opportunity to rise into leadership roles. Knowing all this, feelings of anger and fantasies of saving those lives is deeply understandable. They are, however, not the reality we live in. Nor is the reality Fujino lives in the one where she stuck to judo and kicks the attacker in the face like an action hero. So she chooses to live her life for her friend that she shares a pen name with as the author of a successful manga series they both worked so very hard for. Yume is the character with the biggest stakes in Dynazenon. She's grappling with her sister's death, years removed, and over the course of the show, learns that what was presumed to be an accident may have been suicide. Their relationship was nearly non-existent towards the end, but a few days prior, Kano had invited Yume to come see her at the school musical. Years later, this eats away at Yume. Why did she reach out just before the end? Why the musical and not just being a better big sister in their daily lives? Was it suicide? Was it the result of bullying? If so, was Kano ever actually planning to attend the musical? So much is swirling around in Yume's head, on top of being a part of a kaiju fighting team of mech pilots, her friendship with Yomogi, as well as all the other things a high school kid deals with. In episode 10, during her dream she is transported back to herself as a much younger child, living within the week leading up to Kano's death, but with the mind of her high school self. Now armed with this knowledge, she rushes to the top of the floodgate alongside Yomogi, who has been smashing into the dreams of the others in order to rouse them from the illusion and battle the kaiju causing this. Though when Yume comes to her sister's side, Yomogi leaves them to have one final talk, to let Yume say goodbye and accept that she may very well never get all the answers surrounding her sister's passing. Though the power of the kaiju is implied to be stronger than death, the reality Yume lives in is one where her sister has gone so young and so tragically. A recurring theme in Look Back is sacrifice. Fujino gives up a lot to chase her dream of becoming a professional manga artist. One of the most impressive aspects is how Fujimoto is able to convey the passage of time and its weight. Without ever needing to shift the perspective, a sequence of less than half a dozen panels can show you the year going by and the lives of Fujino and Kyomoto changing. How Fujino's bookshelves become filled with instructional material on drawing that become more complex with each edition. The way items in the room shift around, come and go as the seasons pass by. Then as the two join creative forces, Fujino's room becomes nearly indecipherable from the office of a professional manga author. All the while their focus remains the same, looking down at their desks at what they're drawing. The camera, for a lack of a better term, remains uneasily still as these girls leave little time for anything else in life, missing out on time with family, hobbies, or hanging out with friends. Answers do not always come easy. A lack of them is exactly what Dynazenon puts forth through its plot and world building. Despite the bits of crossover and the promise of further anime in this universe to come, it is not interested in expanding upon why Gridman's final shot is of the real-life Akane waking up from her fantasy more than Gridman already does. What it is interested is capping off a shockingly effective story on the power of friendship, insisting that we not let the past consume our future. To not look back in anger is key. Ultimately, what I think I appreciate most about both of these works, despite the difference in mediums and scope, is that they're not exactly what we expect. The Gridman universe is the weird project of the B team at Studio Trigger because big names like Imaishi and Yoshinori have continued to do exactly what we expect in the likes of Promare and Brand New Animal, but are now involved in big licensed projects such as Cyberpunk Edgerunners, yes, that's Cyberpunk, and Star Wars Visions. And as much as I'm excited for that stuff or willing to be there day one if they return to Little Witch Academia, part of the appeal of Trigger has always been offbeat original anime. Yes, technically Gridman is a pre-existing IP, but a long dormant one prior to Akira Amemiya and his team going wild with it. Meanwhile, as many of us eagerly anticipate the return of Chainsaw Man, Fujimoto silently dropped a one-shot so distinctly different from Chainsaw Man or Fire Punch. While it is still so Fujimoto, we get to see this far more understated side of his artistic abilities in such a raw fashion. To bring this sort of full circle now, here I am at the closing of this video that I have sporadically worked on over the course of 3 months, and I can't say I feel all that recharged. I'm not even sure what the next video will be. Hopefully not something that jumps from one disparate thought to another so plainly like this one. I guess what I'm trying to say is that being creative is messy, and that comes on top of all the other complications life throws at us. The smaller the scale and more personal the work, the more it feels like stumbling vaguely in the direction you hope to travel. So have a little patience for the folks working on that anime you hyped up because they're probably being underpaid and overworked. Have a little patience for your favorite author who is succumbing to the stress of living up to expectations their audience has foisted upon them. And even a little patience for folks like me taking months to make so-so analytical videos on the internet that YouTube randomly decides whether 50,000 or 50 people will see. Thank you so much for watching to the end on this one. It has been a while, to say the least. I mentioned it like 2 months ago on Twitter, but changes are coming. Slower output of video at times is a part of that, unfortunately. But for anyone who has supported this channel in any way, I do greatly appreciate it, and especially to the patrons listed here. There will be a short channel update video coming relatively soonish. Again, thank you.